I am Evelyn Lakero. I'm in Bullis, Uganda. I have two children, 9 and 12 years. I'm single. I'm running the business.
Why is it that women seem to be locked into a cycle of dependency? How do you take a dependent woman and make her self-sufficient? What does it really mean to be self-sufficient? When a woman becomes self-sufficient, what are the effects? How is a woman's success essential to the success of her family and her community? The definition of poverty is the lack of a family's ability to sustain themselves comfortably. The issue with poverty and the reason so many people work to dismantle it is not often poverty itself, but the cycle that it creates.
The woman is expected to take care of the family. She's expected to get the kids clothed, get everybody in the family fed, make sure that the house is clean, do all the cooking, and make sure the kids' school fees are paid. Well, if she doesn't have a business, there's only one way she's being able to do all that, and that is to get money from her husband. And so every day she's going to her husband, or every few days asking for money to buy food, money for the kids' clothing, and it is really a culture of dependency. That's very difficult, and it is not necessarily that a husband doesn't want to give the wife money. He may not have any money. The unemployment in the countries that we work in is extremely high. So he doesn't have any money. He gets frustrated that his wife is asking for money. He thinks it's her job to take care of the household and the children, which of course she can't do unless he gives her money. So you just get into this really degenerating cycle that nobody can break out of, a cycle of poverty, a cycle of emotional dependence, a cycle of frustration for everybody.
This cycle causes psychological and emotional damage to those in poverty.
Many people have been in poverty from day one, the first day they were born, so their habits of mind are very different from people who have not been in poverty. For example, the idea of confidence came up in an earlier question. When you don't have confidence, it's not that you don't have confidence that particular day. You haven't had confidence for years and years, so it's going to take more than just one class to have you change your mind about who you are.
You know, most of the people who have been unemployed for a while have depression. A lot of the people that come into our program have been out of work maybe 4 or 5 years or more. And so depression does come in, to it. They have lost their belief in their self. And that's really a big piece of a wider circle overall, is belief. Belief that we can end poverty. Belief that, these people can obtain jobs with our support and on their own too. What it is when a community like Bullis comes together and really supports somebody, that's when they can end, poverty that way. And so that's when they can be successful in their job.
There are two general types of aid that is given to countries and organizations: institutional aid and non-institutional aid. When thinking of institutional aid, think big. Much of the aid is given in larger sums from the top down, usually to countries or larger institutions. Aid that is not institutionalized is given from the ground up. Usually the aid is given from small organizations to other small organizations in need, not to an entire country.
It should not be a top-down approach. It should be a bottom-up approach, with the women becoming self-sustaining and becoming self-supporting.
Microfinancing is a great example of a grassroots approach to aid that starts at the very source. So what is microfinancing? Microfinancing is providing financial services to low-income individuals who do not have access to typical banking services. Microfinancing is the idea that low-income individuals are capable of starting their own businesses and supporting themselves. Microfinancing was based off the concept of the Grameen Bank, created in 1976 by Muhammad Yunus. It was a mean of extending credit, small loans, to the poor in rural or underdeveloped areas. WMI loans money to women in rural African villages. Their approach is unique because they not only loan money, but teach the women business skills that allow them to be self-sustaining and independent.
Well, we won't teach them about economics per se. What we will do is teach them extremely practical business skills.
The WMI loan process. WMI gives out their loans through a 9-step process. Step 1. Rural women living poverty. Local women go to the microfinancing loan hubs once they have an idea for a business. After they have been vetted by the WMI team, they are then ready for the next phase of the process. Step 2. The women are put into loan programs with approximately 20 other women who are also beginning the program. Step 3. In these loan groups, women are given support from fellow cohorts and more training in running their business. The women learn business skills and record keeping to run a profitable and successful business. Step 4. The women are expected to pay back the loans within the group. If one woman is not able to pay the loan, the other group members could cover her cost. However, the group can decide on whether or not to keep the women in the group. This method, furthermore, teaches accountability and respect for other women going through the program. Step 5. Once all of the women agree to the terms of the loan, they receive a loan of up to $150 for 6 months. Step 6. The women then take this money and start running their own business. Step 7. As the business grows, the borrower can receive more loans in 6-month intervals to help her business survive. As the process continues, the loans can go up to $250 in 18 months. Step 8A. After 2 years, the borrowers pay back her loan to WMI, thus making a woman well-versed and knowledgeable about running a profitable business. Step 8B. Therefore, she is able to go and seek her own loan from an independent bank. Step 9. The surplus money that WMI receives from the paid-back loans are invested back into the community in various ways, such as medical screenings, literacy classes for the women, and most importantly, extending the same opportunity to other women. WMI is also a unique microfinancing group because they lend solely to women. In today's world, women represent 70% of the world's poor. In 2013, American women earned only 78% compared to their male counterparts. According to statistics, women are more reliable in microfinancing. A study conducted in Ghana proved that the arrears rate of men is 250% of that of women.
The reason we lend to women is because women pay back, and they also put the money into their family. Whereas some men will choose to spend it on luxury items or drinking, tobacco, anything. Women spend their money on clothes, food, children's school fees, things like that.
According to the World Bank, men use money on their family only 60% of the time, while women, on the other hand, use money on their family 100% of the time. Also, women often choose more beneficial uses for money, such as literacy and health. Microfinancing women has the added benefit of social empowerment as well, says Melissa LaRue.
The one thing that we might have had a huge impact on is children seeing their mothers independent and working, because that's changing the ideas for an entire generation.
When there's a family business, the children see their parents being proactive. Their parents have a purpose. Their parents have a goal. Their parents are out there thinking all the time, what can I do to make this a better situation for my household? And they see the direct relationship with the effort their parents put into it and the way the business succeeds. So it creates in their mind a whole mindset of proactivity. And that will get you to where you want to go. So I think it's enormously empowering for children in households where there are businesses.
WMI notes the continuation of support throughout their program as a key factor in the success of their participants. WMI begins supporting their participants with basic education. This includes topics such as acquiring capital and learning to save and keep records. The participants are then supported and carried through the program until they become self-sufficient. Robin Neiter discusses how women in the WMI program work with each other and leaders in the program from start to finish.
Getting around and having our trainers go out from Uganda, we train the new borrowers in Tanzania, we train them in Kenya, and it's very important that the women feel like they're part of a network, that the women in Tanzania come to Uganda and get trained for a week. It's really important that you have this network support. So working past 3 countries, you would lose this whole peer network that we've put in place.
Another local organization, A Wider Circle, focuses on similar ideals as well. A Wider Circle has developed a professional development program that helps train adults entering the workforce in the necessary skills they will need.
The people I meet every day are severely underprepared for the workforce. If you went for a job interview with a 30 or 35 or 40-year-old woman who's lived her whole life in poverty, she would be intimidated by you. She might even leave the interview because she wouldn't have the confidence to interview. Never mind the skills to do the job.
Through their professional development program, A Wider Circle strives to aid adults out of poverty by supporting them in their journey to employment. A Wider Circle relies on the continuation of support throughout the program to ensure the success of their participants. Just as WMI uses loan hubs and the borrowers to cross-guarantee each other, the professional development program partners each participant with a job coach.
A job coach is also, we have guidelines for them. They have to commit to work with a particular person for a year. That means that they need to be in contact by phone or email at least